What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dricus du Plessis breaks silence on Khamzat Chimaev loss. Earlier this morning, DDP finally broke his silence on his fight with Khamzat. Recently, we only saw clips of DDP in public after the fight, but there was no official statement or reaction. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. This morning, DDP wrote a lengthy post on Instagram on the loss, writing, "It's just been over a week and I've spent some time with my family and friends, those closest to me who will be with me, win or lose. I embrace this loss with open arms because believe me, as much as I hate losing, it's as much a part of life as part of our game. And I believe it's necessary in my pursuit of greatness. Without the bitter, the sweet wouldn't be as sweet. Make no mistake, I'm not a good loser because a good loser becomes a frequent one. I'm, however, an avid learner of the arts and of life itself. This loss has exploded a desire in me that will have the consequence of an onslaught bigger than the original domination. My return to glory and pursuit of greatness will be unimaginable for the average-minded. I have absolutely no excuses for my performance. I was beaten by a better fighter on the night. Congratulations to my opponent and thank you for the honor of sharing the octagon with you. And sincerely, thank you to all those who enjoyed to see me fall because I will return the favor like I always have. I believe in the plan of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for he knows best and can't wait to see what he has planned for me going forward." Talking about DDP, Paulo Costa recently called him out to fight. During an interview with Submission Radio, Costa said the following, "I'll fight this year. I still have one more fight in 2025. Before Christmas, Dricus is fresh from the belt. He's so unpredictable, tough guy to fight. That would be a great fight, a huge fight. Would you be interested in seeing this fight? Let us know in the comments below." Serra goes off on Dricus du Plessis coach for blaming referee. In the aftermath of Dricus du Plessis' one-sided loss to Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319, his coach has taken some shots at the bout's referee, Mark Goddard. But Serra is advising DDP's camp to put the coach on mute. As you likely know, du Plessis was thoroughly overwhelmed by the wrestling game of Chimaev at the recent event, and he lost by scores of 50-44 across the board. Not only did Chimaev take DDP down 12 times, he controlled almost the entire fight from the top position. But as noted, DDP's coach, Morn Visser, believes that Goddard should have intervened and stood the fight up more. For example, while talking to Submission Radio after the card, Visser said this, "I think when goes that slow, stand the fight up, man. That fight was smutted with boringness. And yes, we're guilty for making it boring as well, but we just needed an extra minute at the end there. I think the fight was smutted by a lot of boringness. I don't think the crowd was happy. 3 minutes into the fight, they were booing Khamzat for just holding Dricus down." Well, Visser's comments got back to Serra, who proceeded to say the following during the UFC Unfiltered podcast. "It's never a good point when Dricus' coach starts saying, 'the ref should have stood him up.' What are you talking about? That's what you're saying. Get that guy away from a mic. Don't say that. It was really the ref's fault. Dude, you had no answer. He was blaming the ref for the lack of action. That's not a good sign." Now, it's certainly true that the bout isn't going to be nominated for any Fight of the Year lists, and a lot of fans did complain about it being boring, but Goddard did stand the fight up a couple of times, and that decision was also blasted by some fighters and observers. So where do you come in on this? Do you agree with Serra's response to Visser? Islam Makhachev says Ilia Topuria should fight Arman Tsarukyan next. As it stands right now, all signs point to Arman Tsarukyan having to record another win before he gets tapped for a title shot. But if you ask Islam Makhachev, the lightweight's already done what's required in terms of getting rebooked for a title fight. Ever since Tsarukyan withdrew from a January title fight with Makhachev on short notice, Dana White said that the Armenian fighter won't get a title shot next. The new champion, Ilia Topuria, has even gone so far as to say that he would refuse to fight Tsarukyan next. Well, recently, Makhachev attended an Eagle FC presser. The now former lightweight champ was asked to weigh in on the situation, and Makhachev proceeded to outline why he thinks Arman should be next. When someone is the backup for a fight makes weight, he almost always fights for the title. I don't remember a time that they didn't give them the fight. Arman was the backup and made weight. I think he should be next. He proved himself. He had a problem with cutting weight, but he proved that he can go down and cut weight. And I think this is the fight that makes the most sense right now. To be honest, I think if Arman goes out there with the right attitude, he can get it done." Makhachev isn't the only person to voice this opinion. For example, recently, Daniel Cormier made the same argument. But what's your take on this? And even if White has changed his mind, do you think the UFC would push Topuria to take a fight with Arman? Well, one man who continues to raise his hand for a fight with Tsarukyan is Dan Hooker. The lightweight contender has repeatedly called for the fight, and during a recent appearance on The Rock, he mixed in some insults and warnings while doing so again.
So I'm cleared for November. All he had to do was kind of sit and wait a couple of weeks, but you know, it's just the stars in the line. I want that Arman. I think he's a scumbag, monobrow loser. That And I'll knee him right in I'll cave his face right in. That's on the cards. There's not a single other fighter in the top 5 or anyone ranked between me and him that even wants that fight. Like, no one, he's the number 1 contender. No one gives a flying about.
It'll be fascinating to see how this all plays out. Don't be surprised if Hooker gets his wish. And returning to the Eagle FC event, the following classy moment also went down courtesy of Makhachev. Khabib sends a warning to Ilia Topuria. Earlier today, Khabib appeared in an interview with Kamil Gadziev where he talked about Arman being the best lightweight at the moment. He even said the UFC is somewhat cautious about Topuria fighting Arman. Here's what he had to say. I don't see Topuria having a chance. Arman fights too well at range against strikers. He keeps his distance well, works better with his kicks, and now Arman has improved a lot. I believe right now the best lightweight is Tsarukyan. Arman can take people down, he has good elbows on the ground, very good elbows, he can grapple, submit, and take the back. I'd say 80 to 20% in Arman's favor. His wrestling, his pressure, his physicality, it all matters. He's taller by almost 10 centimeters if I'm not mistaken. He's heavier and on fight night, he'll be the bigger man. And of course, wrestling always plays a huge role, especially in fights like this. We all know the level of wrestling that Holloway and Charles Oliveira had, it's practically non-existent. But a guy who wrestles, Topuria, has not faced that. He's only fought strikers. I know the UFC is cautious. They don't want to throw him to Topuria too quickly. Right now, Topuria is a bigger star than Arman. But if Arman gets a big win, where can they hide him? They won't be able to. Sean O'Malley talks about changing weight divisions. Now that Sean O'Malley has lost to Pavlovich twice, speculation about whether Sugar could move up to featherweight continues. But it sounds like the former champion has no intention of changing weight classes yet. Even before O'Malley was defeated by the bantamweight champion for a second time at UFC 316, there was talk about whether he could move up a weight class. Even O'Malley's coach Tim Welsh acknowledged that the star could jump up in weight. But as September approaches, all signs point to O'Malley remaining at bantamweight. Case in point, recently, Sugar told TMZ Sports that he's sticking at 135 for now. I'm good, bantamweight, I'm still here. There's still big fights for me to have at bantamweight. 145 will happen in the future? Yeah, probably, most likely. But we still got work to do down here at 135. It's always hard to answer how hard weight cuts are because you feel like you're every single time. Anybody that makes weight is like, it would be easier at 145, but we're still getting it done at 135 in a healthy manner. So yeah, we're good for now. What do you make of O'Malley's plans? As long as Merab's champion, his road back to a title shot will be a long one. But he certainly had a lot of success at bantamweight. It still remains to be seen who O'Malley will fight next. But the talented striker also told TMZ that he could return to the octagon one more time in 2025. I wouldn't mind fighting one more time this year. November, December, mid-November, they obviously do MSG. December, they typically do Vegas. So one of those sound good. And if not, if it doesn't work out, next year I'm ready to go. Who do you want to see O'Malley throw hands with in his next fight? Sean Strickland anger management course is working. When it was announced recently that Sean Strickland will undergo anger management, the news was likely met with more than a few, like that will work. But some recent posts Strickland's made has prompted some people to wonder if maybe the program is actually working. If you missed it, Strickland was given the option to undergo anger management as a means to reduce the 6-month suspension he was handed by the Nevada Commission. The former UFC middleweight champion was hit with the suspension after he ran inside the cage at a local MMA event and started firing punches at a fighter who was taunting the opposing corner. Well, when the commission offered Strickland the deal, the polarizing fighter announced that he had agreed to the terms. He also took the opportunity to send a warning shot Khamzat Chimaev's way. Here was Strickland's post. Well, ready to put this to bed and get back in the cage. Can't have a as a champion. Sadly, I think I'm the only one to change that. Appreciate the commission for getting this done. Anger management, here I come. And more recently, Strickland posted the following comments after he attended another local MMA card. Anger management is working. No fights tonight. Great fights tonight. Sorry, I wasn't in one. So do you think Strickland really is benefiting from the program, or is the outspoken fighter just playing around here? And once Strickland is eligible to fight again, it'll be interesting to see who the UFC books him to face. Given that he's coming off a loss to Dricus du Plessis, a scrap with Boers seems pretty unlikely. So who do you want to see the former champion fight next? UFC updates. Okay, now let's take a look at some UFC and fight updates. After coming in way overweight for UFC 319 and getting cut by the promotion, it hasn't taken Brian Battle long to find work. Recently, Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing promotion announced that the former TUF winner has signed with them and will fight on August 29th. As this video is being produced, Battle's opponent has not been announced. Leon Edwards hasn't been booked yet for his next fight, following his loss to Sean Brady this past March, but the former welterweight champion is hoping to throw down at the UFC's next card at Madison Square Garden. While on hand at a recent PFL event to corner his brother Fabian, Bloody Elbow asked Rocky about his next bout. Here's what he had to say. November for sure. I think JDM is fighting Islam Makhachev as MSG, so I want to be on the same card, you know. I feel good. I've been training and helping Fabian in camp. Now I'm ready to go. I've waited for the division to settle a little bit, and now I'm ready to go. I'm 1 or 2 away from getting my belt back, so I'm locking in and I'm going to get it done. Currently, Edwards is ranked number 4, so it wouldn't be surprising if the UFC booked him to face someone in that range, like say Michael Morales, who is currently ranked number 7 and is one of the fastest rising commodities at 170. Another option could be Carlos Prates, who has been campaigning for a fight with Rocky. The thing is, however, Prates is hoping to fight at the UFC's October 11th card in Rio de Janeiro. While talking to James Lynch recently, the feared striker said this: "Yeah, it's what I want. There are 2 things I want, fighting in Brazil at UFC Rio or fighting against Leon Edwards. If they both happen in Brazil, that would be amazing. I'm a huge fan of him. I respect the guy, but I'm here to be a champ. I'm here to prove I'm the best. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I think after I beat Leon Edwards, I want to be close to a title shot, maybe 1 or 2 fights more, and I can fight for the title." The Brazilian contender also had this to say about Edwards and how he thinks a fight with Rocky would play out. He's a really good grappler. He took down Kamaru Usman and Bilal Muhammad, so he has good skills in grappling, but I'm really excited to fight him. It would be a dream come true to share the cage with him. It's going to be a really interesting fight. But Prates also did say that he is open to fight other contenders as well, and named the likes of Michael Page, Joaquin Buckley, Michael Morales, and Bilal Muhammad. Who do you want to see Prates fight next, following his vicious KO of Jeff Neal at UFC 319? Sergei Pavlovich not happy with UFC Shanghai win. Sergei Pavlovich halted the rise of Waldo Cortez Acosta at UFC Shanghai and moved his UFC record to 8-3. But the Russian heavyweight wasn't happy with what he showcased. Pavlovich battled Cortez Acosta on the main card of the event, and following 15 minutes, the slugger was handed the fight by all 3 judges. While the consensus is that Pavlovich deserved to win the fight, it was far from a blowout. Well, while speaking to the media after the fight, Pavlovich acknowledged that it wasn't his best outing. Here is some of what he had to say. "I don't usually like to say this, but today, I must have shown like 50% of what I can actually do. I'm a little disappointed with that. I should have done more. I wanted to knock him out. I wanted to get him out of there. I hit him in the head, I don't know how many times, but he just wouldn't go down. He's got a really strong head." Pavlovich, who outstruck Cortez Acosta by 63-45 margin, also said this: "I should have added more combinations. We worked on combinations back in training, but 2 is not enough. Maybe we should do 3 and 4. More combinations, I think, would have gotten him out of there." It's worth noting that Pavlovich hasn't recorded a finish since 2023. After he bombed out 6 straight opponents, all in the first round, he dropped back-to-back bouts to Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov. In February, Pavlovich recorded a unanimous decision win over Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But do you think we'll see him wrecking opponents again and returning to the title shot conversation? Raja Jackson under police investigation plus Syko Stu update. Yesterday, we reported the crazy situation with Raja Jackson. Since then, we got some updates in the case. Raja is now under investigation from the LAPD after they were called to the scene of Knock X Pro Academy, where Raja slammed pro wrestler Syko Stu to the ground and began raining MMA punches on him over 20 times while he was unconscious. Raja has also been banned from ever competing again at a Knock X Pro wrestling match. Most likely, we'll see charges being pressed against Rampage's son for the brutal beatdown. Family close to Syko Stu, aka Stuart Smith, released a picture of him in the hospital with an update on his current condition, saying that he's not doing as good as he had hoped. Jonathan Smith wrote the following this morning: "Stuart Smith is a beloved friend and longtime uncle of mine. I got the chance to speak with him via my father, Fernando Marrero. His case was not as positive as I'd hoped. I know and hope he will make a full recovery. Stu has been nothing but gracious and kind to me and my family. To see him like this pains my heart. I believe that Knox Pro is at fault for these events. To have allowed this to happen is beyond belief. Honestly, I'm upset." It was revealed that he sustained broken facial bones and on his own blood and teeth after being hit repeatedly in the face by Raja Jackson while knocked unconscious. Kevin Lee went on social media urging Rampage to turn his son over to police.
"Hey man, dog gotta go to prison. I usually don't like to involve myself in other men's situations, but I feel I'm qualified to speak on this. Dog messed up. And if it's Rampage, I love Rampage. But Rampage, turn your son in. He gotta go lay down for a little bit. Like, if it was my son, that's what I would tell him. I mean, you a grown man, bro. You can't condone that type of behavior, bro. You gotta go lay down for a little bit. We'll get you a good lawyer. You ain't gonna be in there forever, but you gotta go lay down. I get it. He hit you in the head with a bottle beforehand. I get it. He shouldn't have did that. I don't condone that either. But to wait hours until the man was working, which we all understand, he playing a character and he was in character and he working, and then you sneak him, because that's what you did. I mean, you snuck him. He wasn't expecting that. They say dude flatlined and was unconscious for 6 minutes afterwards. Dog gotta go lay down. You gotta go to prison, bro. There's no part of that you thought was cool. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around why you thought that was cool and why you ain't got no self-control over your emotions. I get it, you in your feelings. You probably was watching them work and just getting madder and madder. But bro, you can't have that in no civilized society. Like, we all understand what pro wrestling is, don't we? We've been understanding since we was like 19 years old. That ain't the time or the place. Especially not when all the cameras, like, bro, you don't give a f***. You just doing whatever you want to do. You gotta go lay down, bro. I'm sorry, I love Rampage. I hate that you in the situation with your son, but you gotta talk to him. He gotta be a real man. He gotta stand up on that, and you can go lay down for a little bit.
We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.